Hello. Today is such a beautiful day. I decided to record outside. I'm not sure if he has left yet, but Putin was in Hanoi recently, and I thought I would read some articles that about that today. So please read along with me and practice your pronunciation. And if you want to challenge yourself in your listening skills, try to increase the playback speed. That's a tip. All right. All of these articles are from Dilichea News and are linked in the description. Please give them a click. The first one is about the arrival of Putin. So, Vietnamese State President Do Lam chairs welcome ceremony for Russian President Vladimir Putin. Vietnam State President Do Lam hosted a welcome ceremony for Russia's President Vladimir Putin at the Presidential Palace in Hanoi around noon on Thursday. This is the first time that the Vietnamese head of state and his Russian counterpart have met since the former was elected state president in May. A convoy of cars carrying President Putin and his entourage arrived at the Presidential Palace at 12:13 p.m. Vietnamese children waved the flags of Vietnam and Russia to welcome the Russian leader. After State President Lam greeted his Russian counterpart, they stepped up to a podium of honor to attend the welcome ceremony. President Putin was set to take part in multiple diplomatic activities on Thursday. The leaders of both nations will meet reporters after their talks. As part of his Vietnam visit, the Russian president will lay wreaths and pay tribute to late President Ho Chi Minh at the Mausoleum and Heroes at the Monument to War Heroes and Martyrs in the Vietnamese capital. Also, Putin will meet Vietnam's top officials on Thursday afternoon. The Russian president and his entourage arrived at Hanoi at 2 a.m. on Thursday. Starting his state visit to Vietnam at the investigation of Nguyen Phu Trong, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam. The visit takes place when Vietnam and Russia mark the 30th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Principles of Friendly Relations between the two nations, June 16th. This is the Russian president's second state visit to Vietnam, but it is his fifth time he has traveled to Vietnam. Russian President Putin's entourage includes Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, Deputy Prime Minister and head of the Russian subcommittee of the Vietnam-Russia Intergovernmental Committee on Economic Trade and Science Technology Cooperation, Dmitry Chernyshenko, Deputy Chief of Staff of the Presidential Executive Office and Presidential Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov, and Russian Ambassador to Vietnam Gennady Bezdetko. The Russian leader is also accompanied by Minister of Justice Konstantin Chichenko, Minister of Industry and Trade Anton Alenkhanov, Minister of Transportation Roman Starovit, Minister of Energy Sergei Chvilev, and representatives from Russian authorities, the Russian Direct Investment Fund, and numerous firms. First, apologies. Russian names are not my strong suit, but I'm a little uneasy about inviting Putin to Vietnam at this time. While the typical Western liberal narrative on the Russia-Ukraine war is not the full story, Russia is far from a sympathetic country. Russia is not the USSR, basically, yeah. So, yeah. The second article talks about the different agreements Vietnam and Russia came to. Let's see. Vietnam, Russia ink 11 cooperation deals during President Putin's visit. Vietnamese and Russian governments, agencies, ministries, sectors, and universities signed 11 cooperation documents on Thursday on the occasion of Russian President Vladimir Putin's state visit to the Southeast Asian nation. Vietnamese State President To Lam and his Russian counterpart witnessed the signing after their talks. Speaking at a press briefing the same day, State President Lam affirmed that the talks between him and President Putin took place in an open-minded and heartfelt mood. The state leader highly valued the visit by Russian president, which concluded the same day, underlining that it was taken when Vietnam and Russia marked the 30th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of Principles of Friendly Relations between the two nations, June 16. The head of the Vietnamese state reaffirmed that Vietnam is determined to follow the foreign policy of independence, self-reliance, openness, diversification, and multilateralism, which being ready to make friends with countries around the world for peace, stability, cooperation, and development. Vietnam always remembers Russia's support and sees Moscow as one of the priorities in the diplomatic activities, he stressed. At the press conference, the Russian president underscored that Russia attaches much significance to the comprehensive strategic partnership with Vietnam. Before the press briefing, the presidents of Vietnam and Russia witnessed the exchange of 11 cooperation documents between the two sides. Among them were a treaty between the Vietnamese and Russian governments in higher education, a 2024-25 cooperation agreement between the Vietnamese Ministry of Justice and the Russian Ministry of Justice, and a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, on developing a nuclear science and technology research center in Vietnam between the Vietnamese Ministry of Science and Technology and Russia's Rostom State Nuclear Energy Corporation. Other documents were an MOU between the Joint Vietnam-Russia Tropical Science and Technology Research Center and Russia's Federal Service for the Oversight of Consumer Protection and Welfare in developing disease prevention and fighting lab infrastructure and investment registration certificate for Russian oil and gas company Zarubezhneft, a cooperation deal between the Vietnam Academy of Social Sciences and the Russian Presidential Academy of National Economy and Public Administration, RANEPA, and an agreement between Hanoi University and RANEPA. I wonder if that's supposed to be RANEPA. Anyways. The rest were a deal between the Vietnam National University, Hanoi, and Far Eastern Federal University, FEFU, an agreement between the Vietnam National University, Hanoi, and the National Research University Higher School of Economics, an MOU between Vietnam Oil and Gas Group and Russia's Novatek, and an MOU between BVIM Fund Management, JSC, and Russian Direct Investment Fund. Well, again, Russia is not the USSR, but I do think that it is just a diplomatic talk. It looks like the big thing here is Russia will be helping Vietnam with their nuclear program, and the final article gets more into the specifics of that. Russia helps Vietnam build 10 MW, I want to say milliwatt, so we'll go with that, 10 milliwatt research nuclear reactor. Maybe megawatt. We'll have to check in on that. Maybe I'll tell you in the next one. Anyways, Russia is assisting Vietnam in developing the Nuclear Science and Technology Research Center project, including the building of a 10 MW research nuclear reactor and relevant human resource training. The Vietnam Institute of Atomic Energy, Vinatom, has announced. Jung Ji-tan, director of Vinatom, under the Ministry of Science and Technology, MST, made the announcement recently, adding that this is the first time Vietnam has implemented a project to build a large-capacity nuclear research reactor. The project is being deployed with the support of Russia's State Atomic Energy Corporation, Rosatom. On the basis of the intergovernmental agreement signed in 2011 between Hanoi and Moscow on the building a nuclear science and technology center in Vietnam, Tan said. The center is expected to replace the current Dalat nuclear reactor located in Dalat City in the Central Highlands province of Lam Dong, to promote nuclear applications to contribute to the Southeast Asian country's socio-economic development, the official stated. Expected to be located in southern Vietnam's Dong Nai province, the new nuclear reactor, with a capacity of 10 MW, will focus on irradiation material science, biological science, radioisotopes, reactor engineering, and radiation safety, to name a few. In order to facilitate the verification and appraisal of a feasibility study, safety analysis reports, and design documents for the project, the MST has asked Rosatom to create favorable conditions for Vietnamese officials to engage in implementing the basic design of the reactor and relevant safety calculations and analysis. Rosatom has also been supporting Vietnam in training research reactor operators, Tan said. In order to effectively implement the project, the MST has assigned Vinatom to build highly specialized groups on nuclear reactor physics, radioisotope production, materials research, nuclear activation research and analysis, nuclear safety and environmental protection, among others. The MST has also launched a plan to prepare qualified human resources for safely and effectively operating the new nuclear reactor upon its operation, stated Tan. Vinatom and its Russian partner will speed up the execution of the project to ensure its progress and efficiency in compliance with regulation of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Previously, Vinatom signed agreements on cooperation in research and staff training in related atomic energy fields with two other Russian partners, namely the National Research Nuclear University and Tomsk Polytechnic Research University in December 2023 and October 2017, respectively. Russian Deputy Prime Minister, Dmitry Chernyshenko, getting better, said during his visit to Vietnam in April 2023 that Russia was ready to participate in building a nuclear power plant in Vietnam. Russia's TASS news agency quoted Chernyshenko as saying that nuclear power can play an important role in ensuring Vietnam's energy sovereignty and helping the nation achieve its goals of combating climate change. Russia is ready to participate and support Vietnam if Hanoi decides to build a high or low capacity nuclear power plant, he said during the visit, which included meeting with leaders of Vietnam and Vietnam's nuclear energy industry insiders. Russian ambassador to Vietnam, Gennady Bezdenko, on Wednesday, emphasized that Russia attaches importance to efforts to combat climate change and inequitable energy transition, affirming its readiness to cooperate with Vietnam in clean energy development and the decarbonization of the economy. The ambassador stated that, as one of the world's leading countries in this field, Russia is ready to provide Vietnam with the most modern technologies for clean, reliable, and stable electricity. He noted that nuclear power, chosen by many Asian countries as an alternative to traditional energy sources, is at the forefront of these technologies. So I guess I will just trust in Vietnam to work with Russia like I try to trust them working with USA and China. But what do you think? Have any English questions about any of these articles? Do you have any articles that you think I should read? You can let me know in the comments. Give me links to different articles and questions and all that. And yeah, have a great day.